Is your content not being seen online? Today, we are going to be talking about why and how you can fix that. All right, let's get started. Are you tired of the endless stream of fantasy marketing and vanity metrics? Yeah, so am I. My name is James Patrick, and I'm an internationally published photographer, media specialist, and marketing strategist. I'm also a student of professional development, and like you, I've been left frustrated by all of this influencer-driven generic advice, making us think that we are just one course, conference, or manifestation away from the life of our dreams. We need to cut through this crap and move beyond the posturing, beyond the facade, beyond the image to take real action on the real work that will create the real results. This is the Beyond the Image podcast. Good morning and welcome to our weekly live episode of the Beyond the Image podcast. And today we're going to be talking about why your content is not being seen on social channels and what you can do about it. And the goal by the end of this is that we are upgrading your social strategy so that you can reach a wider audience authentically. Now, it can be frustrating. And it can downright be infuriating when you're trying to keep up with this ever changing algorithm and you're constantly trying to outsmart or outwork your way into actually getting people to see your content. I mean, think about kind of the history of all the variations and renditions what kind of we've gone through in trying to get our content seen. At some point, we were told to do live broadcasts. So we set our phones up on tripods, we turned on our ring lights, and away we went. And then all of a sudden, we learned, oh, well, lives aren't being as effective anymore. Now, let's create some engaging stories. Let's get our audience to engage with our stories. There was a time where all of a sudden people are promoting carousel photos. You have to do carousels. So we all of a sudden rush to do carousels. And let us not forget that quest that, oh, you have to get people to save your content. You have to get people to share your content. So make sure in every post, you're asking people to save and share. And what about those video memes? Let's post those and get 30 hashtags. Make sure you get your 30 hashtags in every post and make sure people are shouting you out. And then all of a sudden it's reels. And we have to put all of our time and energy into reels and trying to get people to see our reels. And through all of this, through all the photos, through all the videos, through all the graphics, we're really coming up against this ever moving target. And honestly, can we say today that we have any more visibility than we did when we started this process? Or have we generated any more leads than we had at the start of this process? And the unfortunate answer for many is not much. And to compound this aggravation, it genuinely seems like this limited exposure that we are receiving is being constrained more and more with every passing month. We've kind of noticed our numbers going down. And it doesn't matter whether you're just getting started and you have, let's say, 500 people in your ecosystem, you've noticed your engagement go down. Or if you have 50,000 people, you're noticing your engagement go down. So we look for something to blame. We look for something to point the finger at, and we say, well, maybe it's shadow banning. Maybe we're shadow banned. Well, that's doubtful. Or maybe the algorithm is suppressing our content. Also pretty doubtful. So why is it then that your content is not being seen? And really, there's two reasons when we break it down. The first is understand that there's a lot more content available. There has been an increase in the variety of options from a wide array of content creators across the world, which means it is harder to get your content to stand out simply by the contrast that there are more people creating content. So there's more content available to be consumed. And unfortunately, there's nothing we can do about the increase in competition for our viewers' attention. But the second we do have some control over, and that's your content needs to simply improve from what it used to be. And that's not to say, to be clear, it's not to say that your content is bad or is was bad. But as an entrepreneur, what you are putting out on social media, needs to be well researched, it needs to be curated, it needs to be overflowing with value. And the strategy which you're getting it out into the world, that part needs more attention. That part needs more energy, and that's the part that we have control over. With any social media platform in its infancy, it's significantly easier to create eye-catching content. Uh, what this means is it's easier to create something that people have not seen yet. But when we see something over and over and over again, it makes us less receptive to its novelty. The longer a platform exists, the more content creators who are going to raise the bar in terms of the quality of that content. And the longer our audience gets used to seeing the same things, the same trends, and therefore they start to lose interest. So let's take, for example, like voiceover audio reels on Instagram. It was clever when we first saw it, I don't know, years ago, but now it feels tired. Or the endless parade of photographing your meals or throwback Thursdays or gym selfies or the using the phrase so many people have asked me dot dot dot, and of course taking inspirational quotes and just reposting them constantly. You're getting the picture. The question becomes, what type of content can you create for yourself that you would want to consume? And that's really important. Now, where there is a time and a place to piggyback off of growing trends, and let's be honest, sometimes it's easier when you're strapped for content ideas, the bulk of your strategy should be addressed in a way that feels authentic, nurtures your audience, and speaks in your brand's voice. In other words, it's going to take a lot more time and energy than you realize. Your content should serve at least one of three functions. You need to entertain your audience, you need to educate your audience, or you need to inspire your audience. And it's great if you can do more than one of those things, but those are the three primary functions of your content: to serve as entertainment, to serve as education, or to serve as inspiration. The content you consume when you get on the app falls into one of those three categories or a combination of those three categories. So if we are not creating content that serves this purpose, it's very easy for people to overlook it, for people to not engage with it, for people to keep scrolling onto the next piece of content. And that's not our content being suppressed or banned. It's just our content falling into a sea of sameness. There has to not only be a reason for people to follow you, there has to be a reason for people to actually engage with your content beyond just maybe passively liking it. What does your audience want or need? What questions does your audience have? What problems does your audience face? What can you provide to this conversation that they are waiting for you to enter into? Creating content that is unique enough, that is valuable enough, that you yourself would want to consume it. And when you create content that is so good you yourself would want to create it, algorithms can't touch that. That's a strategy that algorithms cannot encroach upon. So, what is it for you? And ultimately, and I shared this on the show last week, the amount of content that we have to curate to find what resonates with our audience can be a lot. And that's part of the process. This is not about creating one piece of content that has such virality that it blows up into the stratosphere. I've had several pieces of content go viral in 20 years, but I cannot really connect that viral content to my business at all because it went viral for reasons really unrelated to the work that I do. So the viewers of this content were not the viewers who would be prospects or leads or end up becoming clients of my business. But yet the content that I pump out that has the true fan engagement. We talk about this concept of true fans. It was an article written by Kevin Kelly probably over 10 years ago. And the idea was you don't need um, a million followers, maybe just 1,000 true fans. Because a true fan is willing to engage with your content. A true fan is willing to talk about you to someone else. A true fan is willing to purchase when you put something out. And the way we build our awareness and nurture true fans is through content that entertains, educates, or inspires. We give them a reason to follow us and we give them a reason to consume our content. And when I think about like this podcast, for example, we're over 500 episodes in this podcast. The numbers on this podcast didn't start going up until, I don't know, a few hundred episodes in. And then the audience started catching on. Then the show started gaining momentum. Um, I've been on Instagram for what is it now, 10 years. And the content we're creating now is starting to get the engagement or the response from audiences or from prospective clients. So we were tallying up the numbers and it was something like, all right, so 500 podcasts plus another 200 podcasts on other platforms. We were looking at something like 500 blog articles. We're looking at over 100 YouTube videos. And then we were looking at, what was it? Some like 5,000 different social media posts. And that's a tremendous amount of content. And when I put that out, the point I'm trying to emphasize is it's not let me pump out a piece of content and judge it and see if it's going to work in a short time frame and a very finite amount of data to research this. It's more along the lines of let me create a series of content and let's test this series over several weeks or several months and test the efficacy of this series against what our clients are consuming and what they're responding to. And when we start to do that, we start to really get some clearer data of what's working and what's not working. And once we have a clearer scope or vision of what's working or what's not working, it becomes so much easier to refine our approach, to refine the process, to adjust the content. Like we learned, just as an example for us, we learned a couple years ago that doing behind the scenes features in our photo shoots was building leads for our business. It was building awareness, it was nurturing that awareness, and it was helping to create future business for us. So we were doing a lot of it, but it wasn't until we came up with basically a show. There's nothing else to call it, a show, in a series of these videos that we, very jokingly and satirically called How to Take a Photo That Doesn't Suck, that it works. So we were creating this content really for the past, since 2018 is when we started creating behind the scenes content. So 5 years. So 5 years of testing content before it was probably about 6 or 7 months ago, we came across how to take it, which it was working, but how to take it and truly accelerate it. And now all of a sudden, now we can create lots of content in that series and we're still pumping things out and testing. Well, let's test this theme of posts and understanding that the target is ever moving, not because the algorithm wants it to move. It's because consumer behavior. The algorithm's only mission is to keep people on the program or keep people in the app. So whatever keeps people on the app longer. So it means it's going to lean into what people are already showing they want to do. If they want to watch more reels, the algorithm's going to promote reels. If all of a sudden they're tired of reels and they want to go back to lives, guess what? The algorithm's going to push lives again. So it is reacting in response to what we as consumers want to consume. So if we are adjusting and shifting, paying attention to how our audiences want to be communicated with, like 10 years ago, so many of my audience wanted blog articles, made blog articles. They wanted ebooks. We made ebooks. Well, blog articles and ebooks don't work like they used to. So we don't spend as much time making those anymore. We're still making content. We're still teaching. we're still educating, we're still trying to inspire, and we're still trying to entertain to some degree, but the medium and how we're doing it has shifted. I've been doing my podcast. I've been podcasting for 10 years. Well, at some point, people might not respond to podcasts anymore. Okay, I'll be doing something else. We've been investing a lot into our YouTube presence this year. Why? Because audiences are showing that they want longer form content on YouTube channels. So we've been putting time and energy into that. We're creating content regardless, content that builds our awareness, content uh, that builds trust and rapport with our audience, and content that delivers lots of value to our audience. But yeah, over time, we're going to shift how it's being created and how it's being served to our audience. And that really is our role. We have to think like and identify ourselves as publishers. We are publishers with an audience. Our audience has wants, needs, obstacles, struggles, desires, outcomes that they want to achieve. And it's our mission to identify those and to come up with the content that is going to satiate those wants and needs. And when we do that, that is when we create content that connects. That is when our work really starts to gain momentum with our audiences. We're going to be doing a deeper dive on this, by the way, at Get Published Live in 1 month. We are, I can't believe it, 1 month away from Get Published Live. It is May 18th through 21st. We have both in-person and virtual passes available. We have dozens of media partners offering hundreds of casting opportunities, including, I want to say, 27 magazines that partnered with us, 13 of which are casting for covers. We just put out a new casting today. We're casting for the second annual Swimwear Special for Icon Fit magazine. So that casting information went out today, and that is exclusive to attendees of Get Published Live. Like I said, you can attend virtually, you can attend in person. All the details are available at getpublished.live. And if you're looking to attend in person, we did the tally yesterday. We only have 10 seats left. That's it. 10 seats left. And after that, they're gone. Can't fit any more people in. So if you're looking to get that in-person pass, do not wait. We have sold out in person every year. We've offered in-person seats, and this year we do not anticipate that being any different. So do not hesitate. Go to getpublished.live, get your pass. That way you can do some of these early castings, like we just cast the cover of Ricochet magazine last week. We're going to be casting this fashion spread for Icon Fit magazine in the next 2 weeks. And these are just early casting opportunities for people who have registered for the conference. So go to getpublished.live, get signed up. Hope you have an amazing rest of your week, and we'll talk to you all soon. Take care, everyone.